A Merry Christmas, one and all. Welcome to The World Today on Channels Television. I'm Amarachi Ubani. The United States President Donald Trump says U.S. forces have conducted powerful and deadly strikes against Islamic State militants in northwestern Nigeria after he warned the group to stop killing Christians in the country. The U.S. Military Africa Command says a strike was carried out in Sokoto State in coordination with Nigerian authorities. It killed multiple ISIS militants. A video posted by the Pentagon shows at least one projectile launched from a warship. A U.S. defense official said the strike targeted multiple militants at known ISIS camps, although it was not explicitly stated if the strikes were those that hit terrorists in Sokoto State. A strike which comes after Trump, the U.S. president, in late October, began warning that Christianity faces an existential threat in Nigeria and threatened to militarily intervene over what he says the government's failure to stop violence targeting Christian communities. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth thanked the Nigerian government on X for its support and cooperation and added more to come. He also praised his department's readiness to take action in Nigeria and said he was grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. These attacks mark the first of U.S. forces in Nigeria under Trump and come after the Republican president previously criticized Nigeria in October and November, saying Christians in the country face an existential threat that amounted to genocide. The Nigerian government, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has confirmed the statement by the U.S. government about the airstrikes in Nigeria. A statement from the ministry says the Nigerian authorities are actively engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States, to tackle the ongoing threat of terrorism and violent extremism, and that the partnership has resulted in precision airstrikes targeting terrorist groups in Nigeria's northwest. According to the ministry, this cooperation follows established international practices and bilateral agreements encompassing intelligence sharing, strategic coordination, and other support measures fully consistent with international law, respect for Nigeria's sovereignty, and shared commitments to regional and global security. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar joined our breakfast program Sunrise Daily today. He says the strike is a result of a strategic partnership with the United States and puts to shame the impression that President Bola Tinubu has been foot-dragging over insurgency in the country.
Nigeria has remained consistent in its approach, which is, like the statement says, to work with all partners that are committed to the fight against terrorism, irrespective of what religion, who the victims are, whether they are Muslims or Christians, and irrespective of what type of terrorism, be it terrorism being carried out in the name of one religion or the other, or indeed even banditry. So this is an ongoing process. We have been working closely with the Americans. This is what we've always been hoping for, to work with the Americans, work with other countries to combat the terrorism, to stop the death of innocent Nigerians. So those who thought that there was some foot dragging or, the government wasn't doing enough, it is a clear indication that we are committed and we are prepared to work with all comers.
Okay, so we understand that there was some reconnaissance done before the strikes. Were we also involved in that, and how so?
It's Nigeria that provided the intelligence. I was on the phone yesterday for 19 minutes with Secretary of State Marco Rubio of the United States. We spoke extensively, and we agreed that I was going to speak with President Tinubu, for President Tinubu to give the go-ahead. And I did speak with him, and it was agreed also that the statements that would follow would be statements that would show clearly that it is a strike against terrorism and that it is part of the ongoing joint operations between Nigeria and collaboration between Nigeria and the United States, and that it is not to do with religion, it's to do with protecting Nigerians and innocent lives of either Nigerians or non-Nigerians.
The minister also says the federal government continues to work closely with partners to weaken terrorist networks, disrupting financing and logistics, and preventing cross-border threats, and strengthen Nigeria's security and intelligence capabilities.
This is something that we've been working on for a very long time, not just with the Americans, but with others in almost all our foreign engagements with countries that have any influence over the flow. I'm sure you must have been hearing about the illicit
financial flow.
Financial flow. This is something that has been going on. We discuss it in ECOWAS, we discuss it in the African Union, we discuss it bilaterally with countries such as the United Kingdom, because London is a financial hub. We discuss it with the U.S. because, the dollar is still the international currency or legal tender, if you will, and with China, with everybody at the BRICS. So it's clearly something. It's a no-brainer. This is something that we always discuss. And don't forget that we also have the non-kinetic approach to the fight against terrorism, which has been very effective. We have a safe corridor, prior to Niger opting out of this multinational joint task force because of the failure of this strategy in the Sahel to stop migration that brought about the coup. We were actually, one of our challenges was how to contain the number of people that were pouring in, surrendering, particularly Boko Haram. But then this change, you saw an upsurge in Boko Haram activities, just like we witnessed this suicide bombing recently. We had, it had become a thing of the past. We're doing so well, which is why it is important for those that are concerned about terrorism to collaborate with countries like Nigeria, and in particular Nigeria, because Nigeria is a leader in the region. And that's how we can be effective. So we have to be sincere. And we are sincere. Nigeria is sincere about its purpose and about its objectives.
I want to bring in international affairs analyst, Dr. Charles Chukwunaru, who joins us from Alberta, Canada. Dr. Chukwunaru, thank you for joining us on the program. And a Merry Christmas to you. President Trump promised to attack the terrorists. He has kept his promise. Why the terrorists in Sokoto as the first of his targets?
Thank you, Amarachi, and Merry Christmas to Nigerians. Donald Trump was he doesn't mince words. He doesn't understand diplomacy. So he was very direct. He talked about the existential threat to Christianity in Nigeria. And he said the attack, the U.S. attack, or his tomahawk diplomacy, if you like, is against those targeting Christians in Nigeria. And your question, why Sokoto? You may also ask, where is the head of Islamic Caliphate in Nigeria? Because if you listen to what the U.S. president said and what the minister that just spoke was trying to talk about, there are two different things. Trump is talking about targeting Islamic jihadists, those killing Christians. He was very, very specific. Trump is focused on putting a stop to Islamic jihad in Nigeria, while the minister is saying something else. So it's no coincidence that the first targeted attack, which is intelligence-driven, or which was intelligence-driven, And the Nigerian minister that just spoke confirmed that Nigeria provided intelligence. So they know what they are doing. They know where the headquarters of Islamic Jihad in Nigeria is. So the US went for the epicenter of Islamic Jihad in Nigeria. So why the Nigerian government is trying to take it away from religion, the American government is focused on what the objective is.
Now, some have worried about, the impacts of these airstrikes, which the Minister of Defense, Pete Hegseth, says there will be more of. People are worried about its impacts on Nigeria's security infrastructure in the region and also the terrorist architecture as well. They're concerned of retaliatory attacks. They're also concerned that there may be more attacks on innocent civilians in the northeast and in the north.
When the U.S. Tomahawk diplomacy bettered in Iran, people were worried about uprising in the region. But what happened? I told you nothing will happen. So this is a clear signal that the Donald Trump Tomahawk diplomacy has arrived. And the target, okay, now ask yourself, what happened after the US invasion of Iran? So there was fighting, serious fighting going on between Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, if you like, and then Yemen. But the US struck Iran and everywhere went quiet. So when we ask, why strike Iran? Why the fight? Why there was a serious fight going on in Israel, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and all that. So these things are interrelated. So the target here is Islamic State in the Sahel province, which the US sees as a credible threat. What you saw in Maiduguri is more or less a diversion. A mosque was bombed. But the US, it's unlike Nigerian government that, one would say it's playing the ostrich. The Tomahawk diplomacy is very intelligence-driven and specific. So I just hope that those sponsoring Islamic Jihad in Nigeria will get the memo, and then the Nigerian government will follow up. What is required in Maiduguri is police action, where you see people bombing mosques. It's more of internal security and police action than military action. So I hope that this will significantly discourage. Ask yourself, when Boko Haram in Maiduguri was invited by Jonathan for a dialogue, they nominated someone in the Northwest from Katsina, based in Kaduna, Alhaji Mohammed Buhari, the late president of Nigeria, to be the intermediary between Boko Haram and the Nigerian government. So one will ask, what is the correlation between, because Buhari is from Northwest, he was living in Kaduna, from Katsina State. So we ask, and then the Boko Haram fight, as it were, was taking place in Maiduguri, but they chose someone in the Northwest too. So this is, the Islamic Jihad in Nigeria is like a hydra-headed monster, and the headquarters is in Sokoto. I think the message has been sent, and it's very, very clear and unmistakable.
Yeah, so do you think that, the Tomahawk diplomacy is the reason why this announcement was done by the U.S. president and then not the Nigerian government? Because there's been no statement from the Nigerian government except the Minister of Foreign Affairs, which appears to be to corroborate what President Trump said. Yes, there was an announcement about, the attacks, the strikes in Sokoto and the impacts of those strikes, pictures and videos of which we have not seen yet. But the U.S. is already claiming victory in this instance.
Oh, you remember the last time I was in this program, I told you the US already intervened. These things are intelligence driven. The US government, the Nigerian government, the Nigerian military would dare not attack the headquarters of this Sokoto Caliphate or the Islamic Caliphate in Nigeria. The Nigerian government now have the guts to do that. What you see the Nigerian minister trying to do there is to manage the situation, to kind of own the operation. But this is basically a US led operation. The Nigerian government will do what Donald Trump. It's very, very unfortunate that he took a bully from the US, to do the needful. The Islamic Jihad in Nigeria did not start today. And I say it without any fear of equivocation, that the Nigerian military would dare not attack the Sokoto Caliphate. It's just clear that the US government just did that. So that is why, of course, it was announced by the US president. The Nigerian president not there announced that. He doesn't even know what is going on. He's just there doing what he knows best.
I'm sure he's aware of what is going on. The minister did say, that they had a chat with him. The US needed to go ahead.
What the minister is saying and what
to carry out the airstrike.
He said he was talking. Did he say the president of Nigeria was talking with Donald Trump?
No. He said he was talking. The minister was speaking.
He said he. So when I talk about, I'm talking about President Buhari. The person who made the announcement was Trump. Did Tinubu say anything? I'm talking about. You talked about Donald Trump, the US. The announcement was made by the US. But what did the Nigerian president say? And you see Foreign Affairs Minister saying he was talking to them. Do you believe that? Does he even know what is going on?
Dr. Charles Chukwunaru, thank you. Thank you again for joining us on The World Today.
You always come me short when I want to hit the nail on the head.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time on the program to take a lot of your views, but thank you again for sharing them with us on the program. Thank you. Let's head on now to another hotspot, this time between Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand is reported to have carried out airstrikes on a disputed border area with Cambodia as officials from both sides continue talks to try to end fighting. The Thai Air Force said it hit the Cambodian fortified military position after civilians left the area. Cambodia's defense ministry accused Thailand of indiscriminate attacks against civilian houses and injuring several people. At least 41 people have been killed, almost 1 million displaced since the hostilities resumed. Well, we're off to more, lighter stories. The Christmas side of the news now. India's renowned Santa artist, Sudarshan Patanik, has created what is now known as the world's largest Santa Claus installation. It looks different from the sky when you do see it, but if you do come a little closer, you'll see this installation is made from apples and sand. There it is. Apples and sand is what we're looking at. It depicts Santa holding a globe inscribed with a message reading World Peace. Nearly 1.5 tons of apples were used to make the sculpture, which measures about 6.7 meters in height, 13.7 meters in width, and 18.3 meters in length. Almost 30 students from Patanik Sand Art Institute took part in the activity, and visitors just marveled at the sight of it. Painstaking art. Our food does play well. It might be icy cold, beg your pardon, in the Western Hemisphere, but the opposite is the weather in Australia, in Sydney. People flocked to the Bondi Beach, the scene of shooting weeks ago. On Christmas Day, hundreds of locals and visitors, along with lifeguards, donned on their festive red swimwear and flocked to the Golden Sands for a quintessential Australian Christmas celebration. Beneath the brilliant sun, families and friends set up picnic baskets, engaged in games, and waded in the talkers' waves. However, the scale of this year's celebration was noticeably smaller than in previous years, following a tragic mass shooting on December 14 that claimed 15 lives in the same area. As a result, many people chose to gather at Koji Beach instead. Christmas traditions also differ around the world. Communities in the Andean highlands of Peru, what they're doing is a centuries-old tradition in which men and women settle personal and communal disputes through ritualized bare-knuckle fights. Some do turn bloody, I suppose. Participants don colorful traditional dresses with braided hair and bandaged hands, but they're really getting into it there, greeting one another respectively before stepping into the ring and giving it all they've got. The bouts are watched by villagers and accompanied by music, dance, food, and local drinks. I know, weird combination. But residents say the custom helps preserve social order by allowing grievances to be aired and resolved before the new year begins. Certainly we'll be advising you to start this at home. There are more peaceful ways to resolve disputes, and that's by talking, of course. Thanks for watching The World Today. Merry Christmas.